This chart tracks the rising price of political victory in America. During the 2011 to 2012 election cycle, candidates for the presidency and Congress spent a combined total of more than $7 billion. That budget requires constant maintenance. Some members of Congress report spending half of their entire working lives dialing donors to solicit funds. This capital supports a massive operational footprint. Every campaign must pay for office space, travel, and staff salaries, but the largest portion of the budget is almost always dedicated to nonstop advertising. When a politician relies on a small group of wealthy donors to keep these operations running, it creates a friction between their public duty and their private funding. Voters are left to wonder if the resulting policy is for the good of the country or a favor for a financier. Modern elections have become financial arms races. The pressure to outspend the opposition changes the nature of the job, forcing representatives to prioritize the hunt for cash over the act of governing. To reach the 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency, candidates focus their spending on a tiny fraction of the country. In 2012, this meant an intense concentration of resources in swing states like Ohio, Florida, and Virginia. Local races follow a different logic. For a House candidate, the primary challenge isn't balancing electoral maps. It's simply ensuring that when voters enter the booth, they recognize the candidate's name. Television remains the most expensive tool used to secure that recognition. Campaigns fight for favorable coverage on news desks like this one, and flood commercial breaks with paid advertisements to keep the public's attention. These ads often rely on propaganda. While not necessarily deceptive, these messages are never objective. They use symbolic imagery, negative labels, and cherry-picked statistics to define an opponent before that opponent can define themselves. Voter attention is the most valuable currency in a campaign. Because the drive to buy that attention is relentless, the government has repeatedly attempted to set rules for how the money is raised and spent. To prevent direct corruption, federal law created hard money limits. These rules cap how much an individual can give directly to a candidate, currently set around $2,500. The Federal Election Commission was established in 1975 to act as a watchdog, ensuring that every dollar flowing into federal campaigns follows these strict regulations. There was also a public financing option. Candidates could receive government money for their campaigns, but only if they agreed to cap their total spending at a specific amount. That system held until 2008, when Barack Obama became the first candidate to bypass public funding by leveraging the reach of the internet. This chart shows the result. By using campaign websites to collect over $700 million in small individual donations, Obama was able to outspend his opponent, John McCain, by a factor of 2 to 1. The 2008 election demonstrated that digital mobilization could render traditional spending limits obsolete, provided a campaign could reach enough small donors directly. In 2002, Congress tried to limit the influence of soft money, unregulated funds given to political parties, through the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act. This law required candidates to state, "I approve this message" during their commercials. The goal was to reduce the number of negative ads by forcing politicians to take personal responsibility for the attacks they aired. However, in 2010, the Supreme Court ruled in Citizens United that spending money in elections is a form of free speech protected by the First Amendment. This ruling created the super PAC. Unlike standard political committees, super PACs can raise and spend unlimited sums of money from corporations and unions to support or defeat a candidate. The only legal restriction is that these groups cannot coordinate directly with the candidate's official campaign. Despite this wall of separation, super PACs are frequently run by the candidate's former staff. These organizers already know the campaign's strategy and can amplify its message without ever having a formal conversation. By attempting to regulate the direct flow of money, lawmakers inadvertently created a secondary system of independent, unlimited spending. This is how money moves. Super PACs must report their donors, but they often receive funding from tax-free social welfare organizations. These groups are not required to disclose who gives them money. When that cash flows to a super PAC for advertising, it becomes dark money, influencing your vote while hiding its source. This has created a dual-track campaign. The candidate's official team stays positive to protect their image, while an independent super PAC handles the aggressive, unregulated attacks on the opposition. Citizens are now using technology to fight back. Smartphone apps now allow voters to scan an ad on their TV and immediately identify the specific groups and interests that paid to air it. In an era where billions are spent to influence the ballot box, listening to an advertisement is only the first step. To be an informed voter, you have to investigate who is paying for the message you're hearing.